Thank you. All right, let's try this again. We'll try it without the music this time and see if I can get a connection on Facebook here. Facebook is the biggest audience, of course, I have for Wednesday Night Live. And if I can't go live to Facebook, it's a little bit disappointing. So far, everything on my end looks good. So we'll see. We'll see if we get some. There we go. Good evening, John. How are you? Hey, John, I don't know if you were watching. Davina, good evening. I had to do a restart. Okay, we're good now. I had to do a restart, which means we won't get the music for the beginning of this week's show. But hey, I can use it at the end, right? Hey, good evening, Brent. How are you? Cliff, nice to have you along with us. And it looks like we're good to go. It looks like we're up and running. It was working. I know YouTube was working, but Facebook was not. And if Facebook ain't working, might as well restart things. Hello, Kevin. How are you? Jim, Jeff, Lori, nice to have you along with us on this edition. Hey, Uncle Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Uncle Johnny, what's in here? Looked like it was pretty rough out there earlier, John. Hey, Jason, thanks for where'd Jason go? Jason, thanks for checking in. Let me know how things were going there. A winter wonderland. It certainly is. Facebook is working now. Yeah, I couldn't get it to go earlier. I don't know why that was, but if Facebook isn't working, I got to restart, and I did. Ed says it's snowing and blowing up in his neck of the woods. Andrew says an Ash Wednesday Bluegill Fest. I was just watching my church's Ash Wednesday service right now. Hey, Cap, how you doing? It's good to see you last night. Just Crystal Light at this point. About 45 more minutes, they'll have a little Maker's Mark in there. Hey, Randy, how are you? 50th. Hey, happy birthday, Brian. Hello, Jerry, Bernie, good evening. Glad you're up and around. Glad you're doing a little bit better. Half inch of ice in Ann Arbor. Oh, boy, oh, boy. A half inch of ice is never good. Aditya, how are things in Birmingham? A half inch of ice is never good. Brent says both boys have schools canceled tomorrow. I am, Bears. Hope you are as well. Lake Orion, so watch later. All right, Craig. Hey, listen, are you driving home tonight? Have a safe drive home tonight. Could be very, very squirrely. Do you have to break in a new motor this year? I do, Tony. I got a new motor on the boat. And so, yes, I will be breaking in a new motor. I'll tell you what I really want to play around with. I want to play around with going up in that skinny water and running that big bow mount electric, getting a little stealthy presentation in there. Over a quarter inch of ice easily right now in Lansing. So far up here in the Midland area, I'm not seeing any ice. Petoskey had just started snowing an hour ago. So obviously it's coming up from the south. Working its way north. Anyway, glad to have you along with us tonight on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. After one false start, I appreciate you being with me and sticking with me. Chris Durson of what? This company right here. Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives. You know I love my Rapid River knife. You know I talk about it all the time. You know I carry it all the time. I'm responding to Art Lewis. Am I live? Yes. Now. Yeah, I looked at the Deer Harvest numbers. Anyway, Chris Durson of Rapid River. I put a post on the other day about Rapid River's come up with a new design where they're putting small jigs or fishing flies or very small trolling spoons in this space right here and putting them in and sealing them in with the epoxy. Very interesting concept, Chris. And I think you'll have some anglers pretty interested. Chris, are you also planning on doing the same thing with a fillet knife? If you had a fillet knife and you could put lures in there or spoons or jigs, that would be very, very interesting as well. But anyway, keep up the good work, Chris. Seems everybody on my page loves Rapid River Knives. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate you. I appreciate you working with me. Hello, James. How are you? Oh, what is this right here? Joe says he was at a Winterfest last week and they had hot chocolate and Maker's Mark. Huh. I was going to head down to Outdoor Rama tomorrow, John, but I bet you I don't. Not with the way the weather is. Facebook, YouTube. Ammo shells. You could put a little, boy, what could you put in there? A 22? Nothing, Keith. All right, you bring it up now. Keith says, what's with this proposed law by someone to bring wolves into the Lower Peninsula? I've heard people say that the DNR has a plan to bring wolves into the northern Lower Peninsula. That's not true. There's nothing about that that's true. The only thing that has been talked about, and this is by a UP politician, and keep in mind what politicians do, and keep in mind what politicians say, and keep in mind what politicians are about. They're about staying in office, and they're about keeping their constituents happy. But that's okay, because that's what politicians do. But this politician proposed a bill. Let me find it for you. Let me find it for you, and I'll read it. And you tell me if you think the guy is being serious or if he's just kind of showboating and trying to get some attention. Because when you read the actual statement coming out of his office, I think I realized what he was trying to do. He was being a little bit sarcastic, a little bit facetious. He was showboating a little bit. He was grandstanding a little bit. Representative Mark Markkanen, he says, public support for wolves. This is a press release from his office. Public support for wolves has historically been high among Michigan's Lower Peninsula residents, says Markkanen, a representative from Hancock. I've heard it from Lower Peninsula residents themselves. They often express envy in the UP's privilege to live side by side with wolves. I urge the DNR to reestablish a viable and self-sustaining wolf population in the Lower Peninsula by relocating as many wolves as possible from the UP's thriving population. Isn't it pretty obvious what he's doing there? Johnny says he's serious. Oh, Johnny, I don't doubt that he's serious about he wants people in the lower to know what it's like to live with wolves. But anyway, Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Hey, Doug, Cap, nice to have you along with us. Appreciate you joining us on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. DNR has been using wolves to reduce the coyote population. That's not true, Brian. DNR hasn't been using wolves to do anything. Kevin, the DNR has been using Kevin Rott to reduce the wolf population. That's for sure. The primer end would work in those Rapid River knives. Yes. Davina says it's supposed to be 50 downstate tomorrow. Hello, Brent. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. And there's no doubt. There is no doubt. Listen, people across the UP have been saying this forever. If the people in the Lower Peninsula want to love wolves so badly, we'll send some down there. I get that. But keep in mind, this is not a decision the DNR is making. It's not a decision the Michigan legislature is making about a wolf hunt. I mean, that is. It's in the hands of a federal court. Johnny's waiting on a big storm up there. Johnny, my good friend, Bear Whisperer, Johnny Bowler will be joining us for our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. Johnny is donating a hunt. Captain Mark Pananzak, who I'm bringing up his a post right now, is donating a morning or an afternoon for 2 anglers on the Detroit River. That'll also be part of our live auction for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. Hello, Art. There's Art Lewis right there. Art Lewis from WSGW, an icon in the Michigan broadcasting world. Art, it's nice to have you along with us. And it was so nice to see you last night as well, Art. There's another video. If you watch Michigan's Out of Doors, you will see what kind of joke it is. All right, Johnny, I'll do that. Brent says he can't wait for that dinner. I'm very excited about it. Well, this year it's at the Great Hall. It's not at Bay Valley. It's at the Great Hall. Chef Dixie Dave Miner is catering the event. I am emceeing the event. Had a chance to do a real nice event last night in Saginaw County. It was for the Saginaw County Fordney Club, and they were raising money for youth athletics in the county. And you know how they did it? I find this extremely fascinating. They did it by raffling off guns. They raffled off more than 50, probably closer to 60 guns last night. And in today's society where the words youth and guns are like verboten, right? It's almost a sin to think of youth and guns because some people automatically assume that everything there is negative when it's not. But there was 300 people there last night. There was 50 guns laid on a table, and there was not one bad thing happened. It's not the guns. I mean, come on. Can't any person with common sense realize it's not a gun issue? This new term, gun violence. I hate this term. There is no such thing as gun violence. There is violence and there's non-violence. Whether it's perpetrated by a gun or not doesn't matter, does it? Because a truly insane person can use a hammer. If I was deranged, I could use my Rapid River knife and create violence against somebody. It's not a gun issue. Oh, it drives me crazy. All right, I missed some comments here. Let me go back. I know, Art, I did not call your name. I'll tell you what, though. The guys they said, hey, Mike, next time you see Art, make sure you tell him you got us out of here an hour quicker than he did the year before. Big storm brewing with 45th barrel. Is it buffet style? It is. It's buffet style. Yes, Joe. There's Vance. Vance will be joining us. Let me try to get your comment up here. Excellent, Vance. I look forward to seeing you. I'll talk more about Vance here in just a minute. He is on the radio show this week. Another 50 gun event. Excellent. I love these 50 gun events. Oh, Joe. No. For many, many reasons, no. A big rabbit derby this Saturday at the Ravenna Conservation Club. Nice. How about truck violence? Yeah, when there's a fatal accident, do we call it vehicle violence? Do we call it truck violence? Do we call it Prius violence? Do we call a big Ford Raptor an assault vehicle? Oh, speaking of DNR, Stu is not a big fan of the DNR. I know this. But we have in Michigan now, as of today, we have a new DNR fisheries chief. This has not even been officially released yet. I got a copy of an internal DNR memo, and I'm going to read it to you. This is from, and this will probably get announced tomorrow. This is an internal memo in the DNR from Shannon Lott, the acting director of the DNR. She says, "Dear DNR colleagues, I am thrilled to announce that Randy Claremont has been named the next chief of our fisheries division. Randy will assume this new role effective March 5th, taking over for current fisheries chief Jim Dexter, who retires at the end of April." So congrats to Randy Claremont. I do not ice fish. I wondered if you're going to pick up on that, Cap. Randy Claremont, and I don't pretend to know the guy well. My dealings with him, I think, have been pretty good. But he used to work for the tribes. He did used to work for the tribes. And I thought that was interesting that we're in negotiation with the tribes. And our new DNR fisheries chief used to work for the tribes. I'm not saying anything at all. I'm parroting Mark's observation. Tony says, beautiful fish in the bay this year. Fingers crossed I'll have time to get in that skinny water. You will join me and Tony Wint. We love that skinny water. James says, after joining MUCC last week, or a couple of weeks ago, because you remember we had MUCC Executive Director Amy Trotter on with us last week. James joined MUCC, got a packet in the mail today, didn't realize it came with a subscription to Michigan Out of Doors Magazine. Oh, Uncle Johnny, that's funny. Sounds fishy. Good one. Hey, good evening, Jason. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. All right, Bears, be safe out there tomorrow. Anyway, my friends, my name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live. This is something I do on many of my social media outlets. Right now, I did not go. Well, I'm not going to Twitter right now, but who cares, right? I'm not going live to Twitter right now. I usually do, but who cares? Who goes to Twitter? That's true. Well, he's not a new guy, Joe, but he's the new fisheries chief, and he did work for the tribes. Yes. Any news? Hey, Aditya, how you doing, buddy? Any news on the Camp Grayling expansion proposal? There's some things going on behind the scenes. No, I don't ice fish. I'm not. I'm not even remotely interested in ice fishing. Not even remotely. Oh, some thoughts on my mind. Weather. Look out the window. We're getting some weather right now. But you know what? Spring is just around the corner. Hey, good evening, Jim. How are you? Nice to have you with us, Cap. Cap, I look forward to seeing you at our Trinity Monitor Wild Game dinner a week and a half from tonight as well. In fact, I was just watching. I'll see if it's still going on. It looks like the service over at my church, Trinity Monitor. I can't tell if it's still going on or not. I should be over there instead of sitting here. Did I see that one of the students injured last week was on the MSU shooting sports team? No, I didn't, Ed, but interesting, right? Kids and guns, kids and guns, kids and guns are terrible, right? If what Ed is telling me is true, that one of the kids injured at MSU in the shooting last week is a member of the shooting sports team, the trap team or whatever. Think about how many rounds that kid shot on the trap field. Think about how many rounds his fellow teammates shot. Think about how many rounds were shot around him at the various trap shooting events. And there was not one act of violence. There was not one accidental discharge. There was not one negligent discharge. But he didn't make the news for that, did he? He didn't make the news for being a safe gun handling enthusiast. This kid made the news because he was the victim of a shooting, an illegal shooting by somebody who shouldn't have had a gun. It's not the guns. It's the people behind the guns. Honestly, this drives me absolutely bonkers. A GoFundMe for that student. Greg said he saw a dead skunk. I saw one the other day too. You're going to join us at the Lumberjack. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jim. We will be at the Lumberjack for a Wednesday night live. I think it's a month from tonight. 22nd. Let's see if it's actually 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3. No. 1, 2, 3. No. 5 weeks. 5 weeks from tonight, we will be at the Lumberjack for a Wednesday night live. I hope you can join me then, my friends. Okay, what else is on my list? I'm going to tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show coming up here soon. Skunks, yes. Red-winged blackbirds, no, not yet. But the geese on the pond behind the house are definitely getting ready for nesting season. Those big flying rats are chasing each other around the pond. They're squawking. They're biting at each other. They're setting up their nesting territory. And it seems to me, and I have no way of knowing this, of proving this, but I really feel like the birds nest at the same spot every year. I feel like if a pair sets up a nest on the top of the hill in the middle of the pond, I feel like that's the same pair that comes back next year because they always put nests in the same spot. Steelhead fishing across the state is very, very good and will get nothing but better as springtime develops. The big Outdoor Rama show starts tomorrow at the Suburban Collection Showplace. The Suburban Collection Showplace, formerly called the Novi Expo Center. I wish it was still called the Novi Expo Center. Big news from Scott Hand of Walleye for Warriors. Boat captains should sign up starting the middle of March. We will post the info soon. Thank you, Scott. Now, as you know, Scott, I will be there, but I will not be a boat captain this year. Because the week preceding Walleye for Warriors, I will be in Ontario bear hunting with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. But I will be at the event, and I will be participating, helping to MC or whatever you want to call it. Hey, Art's going to join us for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game dinner. Excellent, Art. I appreciate that. Look forward to seeing you there. Oh, the list of auction items is crazy. Our live auction items are out of sight, our silent auction and online auction. Now, next Wednesday night, on Wednesday Night Live, I will give you the link to get involved in the online auction. So even if you're not there Saturday night, the 4th, well, actually, you can start bidding Thursday, the 2nd. You can bid for these items, including a youth hunt offered by Scott Hand at the Hand Family Farm in Montcalm County, a Michigan bow hunting package featuring a dart and crossbow and rec broadheads, a full VersaSkins suit, and much more. So even if you can't, how do they do seating at the dinner? It's all set up, Davina. Deidre Hurley, our whiz, who is in charge of the event, has it all laid out. She's got all the tables laid out. That's very true, Cliff. I've always thought that was funny. I did not, Ed, find out if they found the guy. You know, he started out in the Tittabawassee, but I don't doubt that he's down in the Saginaw by now. They haven't found him, as far as I know. But I don't pretend at all to keep an eye on the news. I'm not interested. I saw that, Rob. Montcalm County was it the number one deer or one of the top deer? I'm ready for turkey season too, Adam. Yeah, Joe, I'll record the hunt. In fact, you can, if you go to YouTube, Joe, you can see some of my past Canadian bear hunts. And if I see bears or if I get a bear, I usually record the hunt and put it online. I think it's all a sign, Davina. It's the number one county. I knew it was like top 2 or 3, but it's the number one county. Excellent. So whoever is the high bidder on that Hand Family Farm youth hunt should have a good shot, pun intended, at your young hunter getting a deer. What else? Friday the 3rd, which is next Friday, I will be at the First Baptist Church in Clare. I've been asked to speak there by my friend Bill Hahn of Jay's Sporting Goods. That's his church. He said, would you come up and speak to us? I said, well, it's the night before the Trinity dinner, but of course I will. So Joe says, to answer the gentleman's question, no, we have not found him yet. I know the guy personally. We're still looking. All right, Joe, good luck to you. Prayers for the family. Hey, Dave Thomas, how are you? Nice to have you along with us. APRs the last 3 years, good stuff, but I think it's removed now, just like Mecosta County. Okay. It'd be cool if the DNR had numbers for turkeys like they do for deer. Yeah, I think it would be too. And it'll be interesting. There is a fairly drastic decline in the number of turkeys, not just here in Michigan, but across the country. And the big question is, what is going on? Why are turkey numbers down across the country and across Michigan? Tim says, are you getting a new Angler Quest this year? If so, have they started building it yet? I am getting a new Angler Quest this year. It's already done. It's already built. They had it done last September, but by September I was done with it. So I didn't pick it up. It stayed at the shop. It's in the shop right now, getting a little bit of cosmetic work, because I shoot so much video and so many pictures off the back of that boat. In past years, the design in front of the wash down the well had Angler Quest across there. So I would use it as my background. The boat that I had a big seam right in the middle of it. It just didn't look good. So I said, Brad, you know how I use that boat. Can you change that? And he says, yeah, we'll change it. I'll change it. So this year's boat, it's not a 23, it's a 2022. It's a 2022 85-26, which means it's 8.5 feet wide. It's 26 feet long. It's got a 300 horse Merc on the back of it. It's got a big bow mount electric on the front, in-tube storage. It's a beautiful, beautiful boat. And I would really like to hang on to this boat for a couple of years, because it's getting harder and harder to get a hold of these boats. I'd like to hang on to this boat for at least a couple of years. Dave says he sees more turkeys than deer. Yeah, Doug. That's what I'm talking about, Doug. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a big seam. I look like I'm genuflecting right here for Ash Wednesday. By the way, everybody, blessed Ash Wednesday to you. There's a big seam right there, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. So I asked Brad if they could fix it, and he said they would. Oh, Randy. Amen. I checked the Trinity service. That's got to be, must be done by now. Where'd we go? StreamYard. All right, I'm back. Scott Hand said 12 adult toms are now showing up around the 40 or 50 hens. I told you about interesting stuff my dad had been taking pics and documenting. Tim says he's still using his 1990 Crestliner, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it still works great, doesn't it? Eric, help me out, or Erica. HPAI, killing the turkeys and reducing their numbers. I don't know what that is. HPAI. What is that, Erica? Kimmy, my sister-in-law, has been seeing red-winged blackbirds. I haven't seen any yet. Eagerly awaiting. HP, possibly, Kathy, but the number of coons has not drastically increased. Ours did not, Tim. Our pastor and the chairman of our elders made a conscious decision that if people don't feel safe, don't come out. But they live streamed it so people could see it. But if somebody wanted to come to church on Ash Wednesday, they were going to make it available, and it was. 1999 Spectrum. I don't know. Possibly coyotes, Jim, but the number of coyotes in Michigan has not exponentially expanded to correspond with the exponential decrease of turkeys. Avian flu virus. Well, that's got to be, well, that's an interesting question, right? Avian flu virus. Oh, man, I miss pheasants too, Joe. Okay, so Friday the 3rd, I'll be at First Baptist Church. Saturday the 4th at our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. We will have an online silent auction that you can be a part of. I'll give you the details on that next Wednesday night. And then, of course, Wednesday the 22nd at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch, we'll do a Wednesday night live there. We haven't done one there since before COVID. So we're really looking forward to that. Let me tell you, because Davina hasn't asked yet, who was on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. My first guest, Rich Krazan of Michigan-based Killer Food Plots. He talks about frost seeding your food plot. And he said, you know what? It's really, once this snow here goes away, it's not too early to start now. Frost seeding to get a jump on the food plot season. Then Jason Graham of Linwood Beach Marina, who was on with us earlier here, he might still be. Jason talks about a real cool event at Linwood Beach Marina next Saturday. It's kind of a kickoff, an unofficial kickoff of the springtime walleye trolling season, as well as a way to kind of combat cabin fever. They have 4 top quality charter captains putting on seminars there, kind of a Q&A. Captain Jeff Godey will be there, Captain Jason Graham, Captain Mark Pananzek, and Captain Bobby Sullivan. Bobby, you'll remember, it's his client who took the new state record king salmon in Lake Michigan 2 years ago. So you've got 4 of the best charter captains on Saginaw Bay. We'll be answering questions. They'll be talking about gear. They'll be talking about tactics. They'll be talking about techniques. They'll be talking about how to rig your boat, how to use planer boards, how to use wire line, how to use lead core, how to use spoons, everything. Doors open at 9. They've also got some new boats in the showroom too you can take a look at. I don't think there's a charge for it. If there is, I apologize. But that'll be a very good event. And that's next Saturday, the 4th. Doors open at 9 at Linwood Beach Marina. Then Christina Kennedy of MUCC joins me to talk about their On the Ground project. They're celebrating 10 years. There we go, Mark. Good way of putting it. Captain Mark Pananzak, who will be there, a roundtable discussion and questions. Christina Kennedy talks about MUCC, their On the Ground program. They're into it for 10 years now. This week's Ask Avery segment deals with the whole concept of the misconception that some people have that the Michigan DNR has a plan to bring wolves to the northern lower peninsula. If they do, they're keeping it under wraps. They have announced nothing at all. I think the confusion is that UP politician is talking about doing it. I don't think he's serious. I think he's serious about getting the concept out there. I think he's serious about getting people's attention, and he's done that. Is he serious about moving wolves? I think it's for show, but it's very effective. It's doing what he wanted it to do. And in our third hour, Richard P. Smith talks about bear predation on whitetails in the UP. Now, we bring it up. Oh, by the way, Richard got COVID pneumonia, and he was in the hospital for 5 weeks. In the hospital, he just got out. The DNR has proposed to the NRC, this is here in Michigan, to reduce the number of bear tags in Michigan. That could directly affect me because if I apply for the third season in the Newberry district, I can get a bear tag here in Michigan every other year. This could put me back to every third year. It would make me very, very sad, but I would just keep going to Canada. So we talked to Richard about that. He's not in favor of it. Hound hunters are in favor of it. Bait hunters are not in favor of it. Because the hound hunters, God bless them, I almost said they don't care about licenses. They don't need a license to enjoy their sport. A hound hunter can run bears the second half of the summer and not even have a license to hunt. It doesn't matter to them. They're going to enjoy their sport whether they have a license or not. Whereas the bait hunters, a lot of places can't bait them. I'm hoping so, Johnny. I'll get to that in a minute. So we'll see. Yeah, I know hound hunters. Some of them have a reputation as trespassers. I'm not going to comment on that. I know the reputation is out there. The hound hunters know that. The bait hunters know that. But me making a negative comment against a fellow hunter at a forum like this would serve no positive purpose. Jim talks about an email I got from the DNR. I recently signed up for auto renew with my hunting and fishing licenses from the Michigan DNR. And I thought it was a pretty good system. I would automatically get my licenses. I wouldn't have to go through the process or whatever. Well, I got an email from them the other day saying, hey, we've canceled your auto renew. And I thought, oh boy, what did I do? Say something wrong that made the DNR mad or what? Jokingly, I know they wouldn't do that. Well, it turns out they said we've canceled it because we realized that this year Avery, you'll be turning 65 and you'll be eligible for a discounted senior license. Well, doggone it. I'm not sure I want a senior license. I'm not sure I'm willing to accept the fact that I'm eligible for a senior license. I might just even want to pay the regular price and not have to do a senior license. So for my fishing licenses this spring, I will pay the full price. But when it comes time to my deer tags in the fall, I get them a senior rate. How does it feel, Art? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. I won't accept a senior discount at McDonald's or any place like that. I don't give me a senior discount. I don't want a senior discount. Let somebody use it who really needs it. I don't need it. Scott says, do it. Miss what we had, Joe. What are we talking about? I missed the, yeah, Johnny, you're older than me and always will be. Good things happen to old people. That's a good point, Scott. I need to go to bed here pretty soon. It's about my bedtime, but I'm not going to have bedtime until I put a little maker's mark in here. That's what I feel like, Larry. 65 going on 39. I really do. I really do. Especially since I lost the weight, I feel a lot younger. Oh, what else? Oh, Richard P. Smith, and of course, then we wrap up the show with Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. Take every day as a blessing and take the discount you earned. I am thankful I can still hunt and fish. And my hope, my prayer, my wish is that future generations in Michigan will still have this opportunity. This is a big concern, right? The way society is going right now, and the way politicians are going, and the way gun control is going, the way the anti-hunters are going, um, our way of life is in question for the first time in my life. I never thought there. I got you. Okay, Joe, I got you. I never thought that there would be a time. Are you leaving us, Johnny? Where are you going, Johnny? You going over to Andy's, Johnny? You think it's the haircut that makes me look younger? Actually, at the event last night, I saw a couple of people I haven't seen for a year or so, or maybe a couple of years, and they did comment on how good I looked, how young I looked. So, right, I look too young for a senior license, that's for sure. I agree with you, John. It is out of control. And it's going to get nothing but worse when tragedies like Michigan State happen and the politicians see that as an opportunity to exploit a tragedy and impose their will on the rest of us law abiding citizens. It's a shame, but it is the way it is. It is what it now. Took a night off from Andy's. Oh, well, she's not going to be able to pay the mortgage if you don't head over there. Oh, Commerce Township, Patrick just lost power. I hope so too, Tim. Johnny's going to fatten up my bear. It's the Maker's Mark. It's the shot of Maker's Mark every night that brings on the youth. Well, then I better keep it up. Roger says losing all that weight made me look 10 years younger. It made me feel 10 years younger. It really did. There's no doubt about that. Mike Fischel said it would be cool to see you at the Whitetail Unlimited banquet in Sandusky in April. Appreciate that, Mike. I don't routinely go to the whitetail banquets because I'm more than likely to get into a pissing match with somebody over the whole concept of mandatory antler point restrictions. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to open that can of worms. I don't want to have that type of discussion and create a negative environment. I'm not a big fan of what whitetail hunting has become today. I'm not a big fan of trophy hunting, and I'm not saying Whitetail Unlimited is that way, but many members of the group are. And I'm not interested. I'm put it this way. I'm not interested enough in deer hunting anymore to really get too involved in whitetail hunting groups. And I realize that's a mistake because those whitetail hunting groups are doing a lot of good for conservation, not just deer, but everything. So I know that's a mistake, but I choose to be involved in groups that I have a passion for, and I don't have a passion for deer hunting anymore. I'll do it. I'm looking forward to going down to Ohio with Bill Piles. I'd really like to take a big doe out of one of our food plots here in Michigan this fall. But the passion's not there for me like it is for turkey hunting or bear hunting or walleye fishing. So I probably wouldn't do it. But thank you, though. Not much, Harry. What's happening with you tonight, brother? Wow, where did time go? Oh, I know. I got a late start tonight. I got a late start because when I went to, I was live. I was doing my thing, and I realized I wasn't going live to Facebook, which is not going to work. Cliff says, "How are you doing in moving forward with your rod restriction change?" I'm kind of taking a back seat on it because there's another group that's going to take the lead on it. The Michigan Salmon and Trout Anglers Association, Trout and Salmon Anglers. They've come up with a plan that I think is a win-win. What they want to do, and they're going to push for it, and I will support them, is to come up with a $20 yearly boat license fee or something like that, that the boat captain would buy a license for his boat for the summer and allow him on that boat to run unlimited lines for the summer, for the season. Now, that would address my concern of having arbitrary rod restriction limits and unnecessary laws, so I'd be behind that. You could look at it as somewhat of a moneymaker, but I don't know. I mean, a couple thousand boats spend $20. It's not like it's going to be a huge moneymaker for the DNR. But I think it's a very good option. I think it's a very good alternative. And that's the way we're going to go. But to answer your question, Cliff, there's nothing moving on that right now, but I need to get behind it and get that going. Art, you got an open invitation on my boat anytime you want. In fact, Art, I've been talking to our good friend, mutual friend, Dixie Dave Miner, newly retired. Dave's getting bored. I said, Dave, I got to take you fishing this summer. So why don't you and me and Dave go fishing this summer on the Angler Quest? Art, how does that sound? Tim says, would you need a charter license for that rod permit? No, Tim, you would not. No, they are not looking at it. Well, as the proposal as it stands now in rough form is not just for charter boats. No, it's for anybody who wanted to buy this seasonal license or permit or tag or whatever. But it would be Great Lakes trolling anglers only, Great Lakes anglers only. You wouldn't be able to do it on an inland lake. You wouldn't be able to do it ice fishing. You wouldn't be able to do it on a pier. Great Lakes trolling anglers only. Art says, you bet. Alrighty, my friends. Let me do what I got to do here. And you know what that is. Because we missed it at the beginning. Got to do it now. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. There we go. That'll wrap up this edition. You know what that means. All right, my friends, have a good night. I appreciate you joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Not to sound like the alarmists and the snowmageddon, the sky is falling, world is coming to an end. But probably tonight, if you don't have to go out, it might be a good idea to stay home. I'm not going anywhere. All right. Have a good night, my friends. Appreciate you joining me. The website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's MikeAveryOutdoors.com. The email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Don't hesitate. Hey, John Sullivan, you snuck in there just at the end. Don't hesitate to reach out, send me an email, let me know what you think. Check out the radio show, the podcast, my social media stuff. If you get down to Outdoorama, maybe we'll run into you there. All right, my friends, have a good night.